Hi. Just want to apologise for being missing in action for quite a while. Life got in the way. I didn't do much knitting and I've just had an operation on I had a wisdom tooth that was growing this way and it caused a cyst in my jaw, so I've just had that removed. There's a little bit of swelling still, and I've got all pins and needles still numbing my face, so if I speak a little weird then you just have to bear with me. I'm on a nice drink of Coke because I'm not feeling the hot drinks lately. Got quite a bit of sensitivity, so yeah, I've not been knitting for quite a while again, and then in the last, I don't know, few months I've been a bit on and off again with my knitting, but I have finished a few things. So I've got a little pile there and I've got some works in progress and some plans of what I want to do. So I'm just I've got my Ravelry because I can't remember everything. So I'm gonna first show you what I finished. Now, I think I showed you this on a previous one. This is really easy knit, and I actually really loved it, and it's called yarn. It's called A Weird Number and then Lang Yarns Cloud Tweed, and the wool is Lang Yarns, and it's basically self-striping yarn, so to speak, but I just loved these colours at the top. If I could have just perfect. And this is one of my most worn things lately. It's so warm and it's so light and it's like wearing a cloud. Really love this. It's a little bit bobbly, but it's I think it's a single ply, so it's holding up pretty well really, given the amount that I wear it. So that was one, and then I didn't knit for a while, and I then cast on this because Hohi Lohatelli had disappeared for a while, and then she came back and she released a pattern which was Travelling Solo, and it's a one skein project, and I had been saving this yarn for a ridiculous amount of time. I got this yarn from Rhinebeck years and years ago, and it's actually Cephalopod Yarns, Skinny Bugger, and it's a dragonfly tattoo. I'd tried knitting with this a couple of times, but nothing felt right, and then I was like, oh, I like this shawl pattern. It uses one skein and it was just perfect, and it was just really nice garter stitch, and then this little like rope detail with a lace pattern, rope detail, very easy, and it's quite big. It used most of the skein really. I didn't block it aggressively. I could have blocked it a lot more aggressively, but it's a really nice size as well, not too big, not too small. It's like a Goldilocks shawl. You could just carry on doing the repeats if you wanted to make it bigger, I suppose. Depends how much yarn you've got, but yeah, this is really nice. I can't remember what it's discontinued Cephalopod Skinny Bugger, but it was 80% wool, 10% cashmere and 10% nylon, and it was just too good for socks, so that was never going to happen. But one of the things that I've decided to do this year with everything that I own is to use it, because I spent a lot of money on this stuff and it's just sat there because it's like, oh, I don't want to use it, it's too precious. Well, it's just sat in a cupboard, isn't it? So yeah, finally knit that up. The next thing I knitted I don't have with me because I knitted a ranunculus, and I used some deep stash from that. That was, I think that was the first sweater quantity of yarn I'd ever bought, and I think it was from the big Harrogate knitting show. I can't even remember what it was called, it was that long ago. I've been knitting for about 20 years, so this is deep stash. And I didn't really like the colour for me, so I knitted my niece a little baby outfit. I think it was a wee Liesel, something like that back in the day. And then decided to make a ranunculus for my friend. So that got sent ages ago. And she loved it. And then I know that I was working on this last time I finished, so I must have finished that other one. And this is Unfold. And this is a pattern from, it was Liner magazine, and it's by Ulrik Sondergaard. And I just really liked the neck, the funnel neck. And this again was some deep stash. This was Kelborn Woolen's Germantown. And it was this really nice grey, but it just, I couldn't get it to, I tried casting on a few times with it and nothing worked. So I frogged whatever I made. So I saw this, I was like, oh, and I used, I've got a couple of balls here actually, Nordic Sky, Ulu, Super Kid Mohair Mulberry Silk. That was I paired the Germantown with that, and it made this really beautiful mould. Yeah, it looks like a mould yarn. Really nice. And there's a lot of yarn in here. It's quite a heavy jumper. I will take pictures if I can put them in. I've still not figured out how to do it. But it's got a big funnel neck that you can wear up. She wears it up in the photo. But I need something on my chest here because a jumper like this you want to be warm, and it just leaves a bit of a gape at the front. So yeah, and it's got full length sleeves, and then it's got, which I've never actually done before, it was a split hem. I'd never done a split hem before, so that was nice detail to add. And I can't remember what size I made because apparently I didn't put that on my Revelry. I'm like a 38-40 bust, so whatever size that was. And I used 4 skeins, which was 1,036 yards. So yeah, it's not cropped, it looks it, but like I said, this comes quite far down at the front. I will try and put a poster, a picture in. So I finished that. And then my most recent cast on, I'll never have this many finished objects again. Again, some deep stash. This is the Milwaukee tweed, and I got this yarn from the Knitting Season subscription that Kate Davies did. I got a big bag of Milwaukee tweed with it. I got a lectern journal. It said Knitting Season on it, and I just never used it. And why was I keeping it just in a bag in a cupboard? So I'd seen a few striped jumpers, but I didn't want anything complicated. And literally this is just normal striped jumper that you change. It's a construction where you cast on at the bottom, and I knitted a lot longer than it said, and then you start increasing. It's kind of like a bat wing shape, and you change the yarn under here. So there's a lot of ends to weave in, but I don't mind weaving ends in. So yeah, I wove the ends in down this side. I can't really tell. Quite happy with the way that looks. Can't really tell on that side, I don't think. There's some jogs. I don't care. I don't care if there's jog marks, stripe marks. It's a hand knitted sweater. So yeah, I did the bottom a little bit longer. I don't like a cropped jumper. If I'm wearing a jumper, I want to be warm. I don't want to have my back exposed. And then it's a boat neck, and then when you, basically this was steeked, so you knit it in one big tube all the way up, and it ends up, it's quite a big wingspan, I can't even get it in. And then you put steek stitches here, and then you go in and steek it. And I'll show you the steeks. I did do a little video showing how I steeked it. It's not scary, but you need to use the right yarn. You've got to use a proper wool yarn. It needs to be a sticky yarn. I have done steeking before, but not, I don't think I did it in a jumper. Can't remember, I don't think so. So this is where I steeked it. So basically it was like this, and these were joined. I had steek stitches in the middle, and then you just cut it open. But I choose to do a crocheted reinforcement. Can you see it just there? I do a crocheted reinforcement, and then you can actually pull the two parts of the yarn away, so the two crochets, and then you cut the stitch in the middle, so that's easier. You can tack this down, but it's kind of been rolling back how it wants to sit, so I've just left it. I might go back in and tack it down at some point. I'm not in a rush to do that. But this yarn is actually really surprising, and I've got loads left. I've not calculated how much I actually used yet. But Milwaukee tweed is a fingering weight, 70% wool, 30% mohair, and I didn't actually realise that. I probably knew when I got it years ago, but I must have forgot that there was mohair in it. So this yarn is actually beautiful. It was quite rustic to knit with, and after a while my finger, the way that I tensioned my yarn, my finger was getting a little bit sore because it is quite rustic, and I think that's why I didn't really think it had mohair in it. But this is so soft. And I didn't do much of the pink colour because I didn't really like it. I did more greens and browns or blacks because that's what I like, as you can tell. But yeah, really, really enjoyed this. And then the arms were tiny. Bonus. So yeah, I have a picture of this. If I don't figure out how to put it in here, then I'll put links to my Ravelry, and then you can have a look on there. So yeah, I'm glad that I actually knitted this. And what I've got, I think I've probably got enough left to do the, I think it's called Greis, G-R-I-E-I-S-S. It's like a tunic. It's in there somewhere, the pattern book. But it's like a long tunic, but the top is colour work. So I think I might use what I've got left to do like the colour work at the top. And then probably not, I won't have enough grey to do the rest of the dress, but I'm sure I've got some grey yarn in my stash or something that I could use. So yeah, I was thinking about selling it, but I actually really enjoyed working with it. And it was quite quick actually, that pattern. I started it on August the 2nd, but then I didn't knit on it for ages and ages and ages. And then I finished it on Christmas Eve. So yeah, really, really quick once I actually started knitting on it. So that's all my finished objects. I didn't knit this sweater. This is, it's actually mohair, and I think this sweater cost me about £20, and it's so warm, and I just couldn't, it was cheaper to just buy it than to knit it for a really nice mohair sweater. So yeah, I didn't knit this one. Right, what am I knitting now? So I haven't knit on this for quite a while. I think it's the pink colour that's I know it sounds pathetic, but I'm just not loving the pink in it. I'm not a pink girl, so I think that's what stopped me really from wanting to knit on this. I can't remember what it's called. I don't even remember what it's called. It is Biches and Buches number 59, the big autumn shawl. And that's what it looks like. And I've got loads of single skeins that I just wanted to get rid of. Not get rid of, but use. You know, I'm not using my yarns. So I decided to use this Arundel. No, not Arundel. Aran Moore from the Fibre Company, which is wool, merino wool, cashmere and silk. And I think this might be this one, which is lovely and squishy, but just not liking the colour. And then I'm also using another Fibre Company. I bought 2 single skeins from the yarn show to try. And this is, oh no, this is Cumbria. This is the brown mushroom, merino and mohair. So this is the Cumbria. And this is Muncaster colourway. And it is delicious, but I'm just not feeling the colour. So this one must be the other one, which I've now lost the tag for. But I told you what it was before. Oh, there we go. Aran Moore. So this is the tweedy blend of merino, cashmere and silk. And again, this is really nice. This is beautiful. Love this one. And then I'm using Shelter by Brooklyn Tweed. I only just found out last week that Brooklyn Tweed has stopped making yarn. Gutted. This, my favourite ever sweater, is knit in Brooklyn Tweed, and it's mustard, and the colours that they do are just, and this is Bird Book. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, gutted. I've got 2 skeins of that. And then this is a leftover ball of nightshades from Harrisville Designs, I think it was. I made a boxer with this, and it's one of my favourite jumpers. It was a worsted weight boxer. And this is nightshades, which is, I don't know, Como and wool. That's all it says, Como and wool. And this was in the shade Streetlight, and it has like a neon, I don't know whether you can see it, a neon fleck, which is just beautiful. So yeah, I was really enjoying working on this. And then it's just like, I don't like the pink. But it feels beautiful. Really, really airy, soft. And it's a charted pattern, and then I've just got into this stitch. And I think I was knitting on this in France and it had got quite warm, so I think that's why I put it down as well. But I don't think I'm going to unplug it, frog it. We've got a little Danish stitch marker on there. So we'll see. We will see. I'm not going to frog it yet. We'll see what I feel like at some point. But I don't have any other whips really. So I don't mind that one just staying there while I decide what to do. This is my current whip. And this, I cast it on Christmas Eve. And I was doing really, really well with it. Oh, there's my Knitting Seasons book I was talking about. Knitting Season. And it's just a Lectern book. So this, where's the book? Let's put that pattern there. I do keep all my yarn in these IKEA bags because I moved from up north to down south and I don't really trust that there's no moths down here. This again is deep, deep stash. This is Jameson and Smith, 100% Shetland wool from the Shetland Islands, and this is in shade SS72. And it's 50 grams, 98 yards. And I got this in a sale on the Jameson and Smith website, and I loved the colour because this is my colour. I love mustard yellow. Yeah. I also have a blanket over there that's mustard yellow. So this is why I love Ravelry. I got this in 2017. We're in 2026. This is 9-year-old deep stash. And it still smells amazing. Probably because I've kept it in plastic and it's protected it. But this is proper rustic yarn. That hurt. I'm hoping that it will soften up a little bit, but even if it doesn't, I like rustic wool, so that doesn't bother me. I've got 3 balls left and I did have 11 skeins in stash. It's classed as an Aran weight, and I'm making the Felix pullover. No, Felix cardigan by Amy Christophers. So it looks like. It's really cute. But I wanted a big, cosy, chunky cardigan. And like I said, I cast this on Christmas Eve. I went in hospital on the 29th, first thing in the morning, so I haven't knit on this since because I've just not been feeling up to it. But I always do the button band before I do my arms and the length. So this is a top down and I got it to the length that I wanted. Then I did the button bands and now I'm doing the arms because I'd rather obviously have a button band and I'd rather it be the length that I want. And if need be, I can have shorter arms. But the button band and the length I don't want to compromise on. So it's got this beautiful little eyelet that goes right down under the armpit. And it was really simple to knit. Didn't take me long at all because it is Aran weight. Got a lot of ends to weave. I've already chosen the buttons. So I think I've done, I do like knit a lot tighter in the round as well, but that'll block out. I'm not ripping back. It will block nicely. And even if it doesn't, I'm not bothered. So I picked up more stitches than the pattern actually said because there's a big old gap there. I'll show you on this side actually that I haven't done yet. So that's a big old gap. And I think it was, you were meant to pick up like 4 stitches at either side, and that just was not enough. So I picked up a lot more because I like a nice neat armhole. So I'm just decreasing a bit differently. But now that armhole looks really nice. I think that's part of the last eyelet pattern. So I'm just decreasing a bit more aggressively and then I'll decrease as the pattern says. This shouldn't take me long, but like I said, I stalled. So I'm hoping to have that finished in the next couple of days. But I've been getting back into knitting podcasts again and looking at what I can knit from stash, because my ultimate aim is to travel, and whether that's renting out my flat or selling the flat, but I have too much stash. Like I said, some of my stash is 20 years old. I need to knit it. So I'm doing as much as I can, not buying, she said she's just bought 2 more planes of yarn. But that's for something specific. So I'll just run through with you some ideas of what I'm doing, and you won't. I'm not the kind of person that actually tracks how many hours knitting I do. I'm not interested. I knit because it's my meditation. It's relaxing. I can knit really quick if I wanted. I also won't be telling you how many things I've knit in a year. I got to a point over 20 years where I had more knitwear than I possibly ever needed in my entire life again. And that's because I was knitting loads and loads, and not enjoying the process as much as I do now. So I'm not interested in how many yards I knit, how many items I knit, how fast I knit. It's all irrelevant, really. And if I'm going to be doing, I want to do some more colour work. You know, what's the point in timing yourself for colour work? I don't have an issue with anyone that does do, but you won't be seeing that on here because I'm not bothered. But I have seen that a lot of people are doing the sailor slippers, I think they're called, and I bought this year. I can't even tell you how long ago this was. I went to Scotland years ago and I got this from the new Lanark Mills shop. I don't even know if they sell this anymore. And it's 100% pure new wool, 132 yards. It's chunky weight. Smells delicious. I love the smell of woolen books. It's beautiful. My storage apparently was full, so it cut me off. Anyway, so I'm thinking that I want to try making the sailor slippers with these. Probably got 3 and a bit balls, 4 balls. So that's something I'm going to do. And then what else? Let me put it on my queue. So I remember ages and ages and ages ago, I bought a load of Let Lope from Knit Spin Cake, and I can't remember, I don't even know if she's still on Instagram as Knit Spin Cake. But anyway, I bought all of her old Let Lope. I love Let Lope. Again, smells beautiful, and this is why I can wear this next to my skin. I've got a Strucker by Ozetta that I just wore constantly right next to my skin. I just love it, and I have seen the, what's it called? Nordic Bloom Vest by Caitlin Hunter. So I am going to make, I've got 7 balls of this in a lovely grey colour. She chucks it on the floor. Good job, the dog's sleeping. And I've got another bag full of stash bits. So I need to figure out which of the other bits of stash would be able to do the colour work, because it's got really nice like flower. I don't know whether you can, that's what it looks like. So I need a contrasting colour for that colour work there. As you can see, I'm hot and cold all the time. So just like a vest would be really good, and that is a way to get this stash used up. And I think it's probably ages since I bought this as well. Let me see if I can find it. Let's open. So it's a bit it's not great, is it, when you think about it, I bought all this stuff and I just never use it. So yeah, I'm kind of like shaming myself into using it. So this I bought in 2020, so that's not too bad. 6 years ago, 5.5 years, it's still a long time in it. So this needs knitting up, so that is going to be a Nordic one for sure. And then I also got this. I think this was on sale somewhere. I always buy my yarn on sale because that's not even got a label on it. It's useful. I like a bargain, and I like to help wool shops get rid of the clearance items as well, because even if there might not be enough yardage for something right then and there, there'll be yardage for something at some point. And I also like to buy wool that I've never used before. And I don't think I'd ever used Navia, or had I? I think I might have used it once. So this, Navia Tradition, light brown, colourway 905. This is a Faroe Island yarn, 100% pure new wool, and it is Faroese wool and English lamb's wool, so it is really nice and squishy, and yeah, I really liked it. And this I got 2017. So yeah, this is deep stash as well. So I did a swatch for something, and it's really, really nice. Look at that. And this is one thing that I would say to people, and one thing that it took me quite a while to learn, that if you're looking at a pattern, you need to be really looking at the yarn and what it's made of and how it drapes, if you want to recreate the same type of item. So let's say this. If you want, if the knitting designer has designed something that is like, look at that. You see how that moves? It's just, the drape is beautiful. And that's because of the fibres that are in that. As well as the gauge, but it's mainly because of the fibres. So if you were going to knit it out of this doesn't move like this. It never will, no matter what you knit it at. So if you want to substitute yarn, you need to substitute the fibres as well. More than getting the gauge, I would say. I mean, if you knit something that is like bulletproof, like if that was knit really, really tight, that's going to be so stiff. If you knit it at a bigger gauge, it's going to be a little bit more flexible, but it's never going to have the drape of something that has got silk in it. So that's one thing that I would say. Everybody goes on about the gauge of stuff and says, oh, the gauge is this, this and that. I don't know what people are on about. Obviously, I know what gauge is. But after 20 years of knitting, I don't need to know the gauge, really. I don't know what gauge this is. If you told me what gauge this is, I'd be like, I don't need to know that. I need to know the fibres. So that is one thing that I would honestly say to you, that you need to know more than anything. Because you're not going to get the drape. I don't know where I've put that other sweater. Oh, it's here. So again, this is mohair and wool. So this is quite drapey because of the mohair content in it. Yeah? If you were going to knit this in a really in this is going to be more drapey. It's going to be a lot more flowing. So for me, it's the fibre content that is a lot more important. So just be mindful of that when you're looking at patterns and you're looking to substitute the yarn. I remember one of the first cardigans I ever made. I loved it. It was a Brooklyn tweed pattern. I knit it out of just a random cheap wool that I saw because it was cheap. I knit it up, bloody hell, that thing was bulletproof. And the shaping on the hips, it was like it had been starched. I never wore that thing. It was beautiful. I was so proud of it, but the drape was all wrong, because if you know the fibre content and what the fibre of shelter or loft from Brooklyn tweed feels like, you need to be matching that fibre. So that's one of the things that I would say is the biggest learning experience. I don't need to know what gauge things are. Some people might disagree with me. That's fine, fair enough. But do what you find useful. And I always stick to the needle size that the pattern designer says, and I will change the size, and I will, you know, if my row gauge is out, I just measure it. I don't need to change my needle size. If my row gauge is too high, you know, if they say knit 40 rows and my gauge is, say I've got more rows, it's going to end up a lot bigger. So go off measurements. Measure it on you if it fits you. That's all you need to know. We make things very complicated when I don't think they need to be. Anyway, so Alter Dash, tangent. I'm going to make, was it the Lakes pullover? No. The Miles Shirt Jacket by Ozetta. Because I'm also knitting a lot more of what I actually wear, and I wear a heck of a lot of cardis. And the Miles Shirt Jacket, if you've not seen it, is this. I wear the heck out of cardigans like these. So I'm going to knit that. And this is suggested yarn of Wool Dreamers Manchalope, and Wool Dreamers Manchalope is a unspun, but it's very soft, so you're going to get movement within that. So I think this one will probably not have as much movement as Manchalope would, but I think that this would be a nice fabric. It wouldn't be too stiff, and I'd be able to recreate that. So that's what is going to be that. And then one thing that I did see earlier, I was just watching a knitting podcast, and I was in the mood for something like rustic and chilled out and not a lot of stress, so I went for a Fibre Tails, and I saw the Bakker scarf that she designed, and I don't think it's a new pattern at all, but you can actually wear it over your head if it gets cold. It's a nice long scarf. See that? So I thought that might be nice. I don't have anything like that in my wardrobe, and this is made out of plot lope and silk mohair, and I just happen to have 2 plates of plot lope in my stash that need using, and I measured them before, and I wrote it down on I've got 107 grams of the grey and 99 of the white, so pretty much full plates of plot lope. And then I have these left over from the jumper, so that should be enough to do the Bakker shawl. See, I love plot lope. This is an unspun yarn. I first tried this when I went to Iceland, and it's just beautiful, and it does pull apart quite easily. But this is, if you want to try unspun yarn, start with plot lope. It's a lot less fragile than the others, and if you put something like silk mohair, it will take some of that itch out if you don't like it. So I've got this and I've got this. So I'm thinking of striping, mottling, I don't know, but this will be good and get out of my stash. So yeah, I think that's about all I've got to show you for the time being. I will try and come back. It's not going to be every week. Maybe every fortnight when I've got some progress to show you, I will come back on and I'm going to talk about some patterns that I like as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts on what I've been knitting, and let me know what you think about the gauge debate and whether it's fibre over gauge. I have got another treat coming in the post. I've got some more plot lope. I can't actually remember what I ordered it for now, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. And I was also given some money for Christmas, so storage cut me off again. I may have ordered, oh, I've got one on me, thread and maple mini binder. So I'm waiting for that to come as well. I'm excited for that because I just have my Chogo needles and the Chogo needle holder with crap everywhere. So to get a mini binder is better for me because the big ones are a bit too bulky. So I'll show you that as soon as that comes as well. I'm hoping it won't be too long. So yes, I will hopefully be back in a couple of weeks. Hope to see you soon. Bye.